All right, and welcome back to the Vampire Priest. I am your host, Father Antonio Rivera. Today we are going to be talking a little bit about, the whole thing is going to be really about Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I have not seen the movie, but I just finished reading the graphic novel. I have a lot to say about it. First, the art is very much amazing. The artist style reminds me a lot of um, Absolute Flash. But I looked at it. I don't think it's the same guys. I don't see the names on the titles here that match, but it does look exactly like them, especially the eyes. And what I didn't like on the Flash, I do like here because she's a woman, she's a girl. So the art is spectacular. I mean, just going through it, it's phenomenal. This guy really knows his stuff, and or her stuff. I don't know if this is a dude or a chick. Um, it is what it is. But I do have a little bit of a problems with it, which is in terms of it that they have these large panels that are repetitive. It could be broken down into smaller panels just to bring the story forward. However, I will say with the great big however, it does work for the story. They do have some of these beautiful splash pages because the story is very wordy. Um, I do not like Supergirl in here, except there is a part, but we'll get to that at the end of this. It is this whole story is told to the point of view of this girl here, Ruth Ann, Riley. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just gonna call her Ruthie. I've been calling her Ruthie the whole time I've been reading this, and so that explains why Supergirl is not the traditional Supergirl that we understand, that we know, that we love, that we grew up on. This one is a drunkard. She was found drinking at a bar because it's her birthday birthday week, and she very foul mouth. This is an extremely violent book with her, despite the very slow pacing. I cannot emphasize. So this does read like a book because, holy crap, man, you got to be a lover of reading to get through this book. And it also reads as a journal. So what you're reading here is Ruth's journal as she's telling the story of her encounter with Supergirl, what led up to it, and what's going on afterwards. I'm not going to show you the ending in case you want to read it. This is a little bit of a spoiler. I probably will do anyway. I don't care. This is a bit of a spoiler kind of a deal here. If you've seen the movie, you're going to love the book. It does take a turn that's different. We do hear about the Green Sun and the prison planet. That one took me by surprise because I really wasn't expecting a whole planet built to capture and prison and kill Superman. That somebody came and did that. The Green Sun is apparently kryptonite, and if you know about the green kryptonite, it's a slow killing because they're usually smaller pieces of rock. I don't know where all of this kryptonite is coming from because it's supposed to be rare, but they got enough to build a whole sun. The bad guys have weapons with kryptonite. This whole thing is going on. Apparently Supergirl is out in this green kryptonite sun for hours. An entire day goes by. So you're looking at about maybe 12 to 10 hours. She didn't die, which is weird. And she's saying, oh, Superman, he was there. He was rescued in 45 minutes. And he said it was the worst pain in his life and he almost died. Okay, 45 minutes compared to her 12 hours in that sun. And she's still alive. And she still had some of her power left. It should have all been depleted and gone. She should have been a corpse by the end of that. But it is what it is. It's a book about her, and we're hearing it from somebody else. Someone who really doesn't understand what's really going on, just what Kara Zor-El has been telling her, what she has witnessed. Again, she's a farm girl from a far off planet, so she doesn't know too much about what's happening. So she has to use her own vocabulary. First time off planet, did never even left the farm before, according to the story. Crypto does get shot in here with an arrow. Supergirl gets shot with an arrow a bunch of times. I mean, look how deep this sucker goes. It's not even funny. But we don't really hear much about Crypto in the story. It was just an incentive and a motivation for Supergirl and Ruthie to get together. Again, this is spoilers or alert, spoiler alert. What's going on? We also see on the cover we have the Crypto, who was just a plot point to get the two together. That was it. We also see Comet, the Kryptonian horse. Now, there's a huge twist into this that I didn't even see coming. First of all, where the F did this horse come from? I don't know. It just appeared out of nowhere. We're reading the story, and then all of a sudden, the horse is there. She uses the horse to go into oblivion. I don't know where she went to, but there is nothing, no light, no color, no sound, because a magic ball that Krem of the Yellow Hills threw at her. She can't do anything about magic. Hey, we all know that about the Kryptonians. Magic is their number one weakness. A lot of people want to say kryptonite, but no, it's magic, because there's really not that much kryptonite out there. It's supposed to be rare, despite the bad guys having it in their laser cannons, despite there being an entire sun made out of this. So we have this that's going on. And so she gets on this horse, rides as fast as she can, outsmarts this little ball of magic. And the ball of magic is actually pretty cool, because if you do it correctly, it'll send you billions of miles away. She was caught with Ruthie in it, and it sent her to another planet that was, a light year away or two, billions of miles. She had to get exposure to a sun and go out and do it, which really annoys the hell out of me, because if you know anything about the Kryptonians and here on Earth, it's the properties of our yellow sun that make all the difference. So the properties of the sun, what it's made of, how much is of a gas, and how intense it is compared to the distance of the Earth, plus our atmosphere, how it's bending the light and it's bringing it into them. All of that plays a factor on their power levels. But apparently, any yellow sun will give them powers. Which, to a certain degree, I can see that. But I think the power should fluctuate. Either greater, they could, possibly burn out peak out at their max. Imagine a Super Saiyan Superman or a Super Saiyan Supergirl, something like that, infused with the super soldier serum, how much more powerful they will be. Or even just regular everyday people, no powers at all. So seeing that all the suns, yellow suns kind of booster it's a little disappointing, but at the same time, these are plot points that don't really matter. And they don't matter because they're being told through the point of view of someone who has no idea about all of this. So all of the nitpicking that I'm doing is because I know the lore, and I have to try to take my brain off of the lore and put it into the diary. So this is a little girl's diary that she's doing. Her father was dead, killed by this Krem guy. This is the sword that he used right here. It actually looks pretty nice. And again, this artist knows what he's doing. I mean, again, I would just recommend just thumbing through this just to see the beauty of this art. I mean, it's fantastic. It looks great. Again, the pacing is very slow. We do have Krem towards the end being captured. And this little girl, Ruthie, is struggling whether or not she's going to kill this guy. The whole point of the story was that she wanted revenge. She wanted to kill this guy. She meets this foul-mouthed drunkard. Goes by the name of Supergirl. People in the galaxy know who she is, apparently. And something happens between them. It doesn't really seem that Supergirl is teaching her about morality, but I guess it does make sense, because Supergirl keeps pushing her out of the way, It's not a lot of dialogue between them because Ruth is the one who's monologuing the entire thing, telling us her experience, telling us what went on, and she'll even say, "Hey, I don't know what happened in this part with Supergirl, but this is a little I pieced together what I heard rumors of and what she told me." So again, we're getting all of this hand-me-down storytelling, so it doesn't have to fit the Supergirl that we know and love and cherish. If that makes any sense. Remember, this is one perspective from one person who met her, and this person, one doesn't is a farm girl, never left the farm from some far off place. This is the first time going on an adventure and on a journey. So that's one point of view, because she doesn't know anything about space travels, Kryptonians' DNAs, or any of that. She doesn't know what any of that means. She does have a limited education, but it's a farmer's education for that little section of where she's from. It's not a global big thing. And so think of Little House on the Prairie, their type of education, and then all of a sudden throwing them into the here and now. They're going to use the language that they know. They're going to use the logic and the schooling that they know in order to explain what they witnessed and how they experienced it. So that's what we're getting from this girl, which already is a good standpoint, because there are things about the Supergirl, the level of violence, her level of aggression, and that vulgar mouth. I hate that vulgar mouth. It's not ladylike. I don't like a woman who cusses like that. It's not attractive. You know, it's always been that way. Those are the type of women that, they're good for a night, but they're not good for long-term relationships, and they're really not good for role models. You know, it's different with guys. Yeah, double standards. Okay, fine. Who cares about the double standards? We all got to get over it and move on with the rest of our lives. It's not equal. We're not equal beings. We're not equal people. We're different. Men and women are different. That's why I really like Supergirl. And I like the 80s movie of Supergirl. I mean, it was a fun thing. I didn't want to see Superman there, you know, giving her the thumbs up like, hey. I didn't like that she went back to Argo City, man, because we could have had Supergirl in that universe. And I like that 90s comics of Supergirl. If you read that with Carol Danvers when she was the Matrix, and man, that was fantastic. That was great storytelling and great art. But if you really want storytelling and art, check out Superman the Animated Series and Justice League Unlimited with Supergirl. Whoa, that'll blow you away. You're going to be, this is the Supergirl that I want to see on the big screen. And it is. I want to see that Supergirl on the big screen. This book makes me want to go see that new Supergirl movie. What doesn't make me want to see the new Supergirl movie is that everybody keeps saying that it's just okay. That and Lobo. Dude is genetically engineered to play Lobo. And so here's another beautiful rendering and picture. Now, this is the big spoiler that really brings everything together, that made this book worth reading, is the ending. So the ending, spoilers. If you want to read this book, do not go any further. First, we find out that this dude is Comet. Apparently, he was stuck in a horse's body. I don't know too much about the Super Pets and Comet, but in this storyline, it was a dude who was stuck in the body. Not only that, but the dude appears to have been Supergirl's father, Zor-El. He looks like Zor-El. There's a reference that, oh, he loved me, and then she stops. But it seems that way. And he came back to it because he jumped as a horse in front of a kryptonite laser that was going to kill Supergirl. He came from one planet. He heard her from deep in space somehow, from one planet, came running to her, jumped in front of it, and that broke him out of whatever magical DNA spell he was in, that he was a horse. And there he is. Again, this is actually pretty cool. You take out the wording, and this will be a phenomenal poster. What do you think? I think it would be a great poster. This artist deserves a raise. Whoever drew, inked, and colored all of those people, they deserve a raise in DC Comics, and they need to be put in charge of the artistic charge of good comic books for DC. Well, anyway, so we find out that the end, right here, Kara Zor-El is gonna kill this guy, Krem of the Yellow Hills. She's gonna chop his head off. Ruth is saying, no, I get it now, I understand why we don't kill. And she goes on a long rant just to summarize that it's, life is precious. Life is really precious. And it takes something from you to kill. Great. Then it fast forwards to about 100 years or so, a little bit over 100 years in the future. And this is where the whole storytelling is coming from. Because originally you will think that it's her talking to Comet. But no, there's more. Because she's talking to this freaking animal like she's talking to us. And they have that little heart-to-heart and that talk all the way up in the future. And look, there she is with Crypto. We find out that there was nothing wrong with the freaking dog to begin with. It was at the vet at the planet where it was shot with an arrow. It wasn't really poisoned. They were just taking care of it. And the reason why Kara went with Ruthie was to teach her that revenge is not an option. That there is hope, and there is a whole lot of good things that are out there. And if you waste your life seeking revenge, it's going to consume you. It's going to kill you. It's going to corrupt your soul. So in that aspect, this was an excellent retelling of Moby Dick. Read that book, man. It's a fantastic book. With Ahab and the white whale. All about revenge, which is Ruthie's story, except we have, it takes us for a twist. Because this is it. This is the big spoiler and how the movie ends. Krem was never killed. He was put in the Phantom Zone. And he was sentenced there for 100 years. Krem, the Phantom Zone keeper, eventually says he served his time. He's good. He comes out and we see the reformation of him. He's reformed. He's a different guy. Yeah, he's old, but he understands what he did, and it ends with him begging for forgiveness and how sorry he is. And we see all of that. However, there is one little act of revenge towards the end, and that's what Ruthie just smacking him with her stick. Again, she's 100 years old. She's been there. It doesn't look like that she ended up killing him, because he is awake, and with those small panels, it looks like he's just holding his head, and that was just the final dig for her. And that's her story with Krem and the Yellow Hills. But also here we have some posters with the graphic novel, some sketches. Krem actually looks like a demon here, and he kind of gets everything that he deserves. We got Ruthie, Supergirl. I've got no problem with how this ended, because it was a beautiful ending, a great ending, about restraints, and again, it was a whole Moby Dick storyline that was put in a Supergirl comic, which worked. It freaking worked. I hated Supergirl for the majority of this book, but then when we see what happens and how everything turns around, okay, everything makes sense now. The ending is, this is the Supergirl that we know. This is the Supergirl that we grew up with. This is the Supergirl that we love. If you read the comic, let me know. Let's keep this discussion alive. If you've seen the movie, let me know. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Did you do both? Read the movie and read the book and see the movie. I keep wanting to say read the movie. What were the comparisons? Your likes, your dislikes? Which one was superior to you? I really do want to go see that new movie now after I read this book. And again, this artist, the guys who came up with this story, everybody, they all, even the writing is good too. Very wordy, but good.